Hello.
So, hello, thank you. Yes, it's great to see you here.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So we have a few times, so I'm going to ask you a question right.
Okay.
You first came to direction with Stargate as you want, and then you were the director for about 15 episodes, all series. Do you like it? Do you like it? Would you like to direct more?
Yes, directing is certainly where my career is going. When Stargate ended and I went on to Sanctuary, I had directed one Stargate, but Sanctuary was where I really did more. And then when Sanctuary ended, it was like I was getting offers to direct, and so that's what I did. And so it was a good balance for a while between acting and Supernatural and directing. And now this last year, mostly directing. I did comedy, and I did a guest star on a TV show and an independent film acting, but like 8 episodes of television.
And series or feature films? Would you?
Series right now, mostly episodic.
But
I would love to do, yes, of course.
You have some projects, perhaps?
I do actually.
Yes. It's a secret.
Secret.
Okay. Can you tell us about your casting for Amanda?
For Samantha?
Stargate? Yes, for Samantha. What was your casting?
What was the audition process like?
Yes.
Yeah. I auditioned in Toronto. That's where I was living. And I was like there. I guess they auditioned in New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and Toronto and Vancouver and Montreal and all over. And I thought, well, it's going to go to an American. I'm not going to get this part. A British-born Canadian girl is not going to get the part. And I let it go. But I really loved the part.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a week and a half later or so, I got a call from my agent saying that I had been shortlisted. So they narrowed it down to about 8 of us. So I sent a demo reel which has, scenes that I've done from all of my shows, and then I got the call that I was down to 3 of us, and I was flown to LA. And in Los Angeles, they had all the Teal'cs, all the Daniel Jacksons, all the Sam Carters, all the General Hammonds in the same room, hanging out together. And interestingly enough, Michael Shanks and Christopher Judge and myself kind of found each other, and we were running lines together and just talking. Didn't know each other at all, but just talking. And anyway, I went in. I auditioned opposite Richard Dean Anderson on stage in a dark theater. Couldn't see who was there, and then I left. We waited in the waiting room, and they said, "Okay, you can go home. You can go home. You stay. And it was like. And I went in the second time and joked around with Richard. We literally joked around with him. And the producers in between the 2 auditions said to me, just what you're doing with Richard, that kind of jokey, fun stuff that you guys are doing, you put that into the audition. And I was like, okay, great. And so they really wanted to establish a nice relationship between these 2. And at the end of it, they had Richard and I stand, arms around each other like this, and it was, yeah. And I was like, oh. And then I waited and waited and waited. And it was like, you got the part, you have 2 weeks to move to Vancouver. Yeah.
What do you think about the MGM project to reshoot Stargate? The motion
the
picture?
Movies, yeah.
With the thing to erase all what has been done with the series.
Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich came up with the idea for the Stargate movie, and it was an amazing thing. And I think that they just want to take it back. I think it's a shame to let, 17 years of series, right? With 10 Stargate, 5 Atlantis, 2 Universe, to sort of pretend that doesn't exist. I think it's a bit strange. But it was their concept to begin with, so it's theirs to do with what they...
So you're a bit sad with it, of course.
I am, of course, yeah. But I think, I'm sure they'll do something pretty spectacular with it.
As you are sad too with the cancellation of Sanctuary, I think
that was really hard. And that was sort of, because we were an independent television series, privately financed, it was a combination of the financing and the network, and, it wasn't that the show wasn't doing well, it was doing really well. And we ended up in 170 countries, but it was all consented.
DVDs were sold very well too.
Everything was going really well. So we were very sad, because I think we had another season in us at least.
But perhaps it's a way for you now to turn the page.
Absolutely, yeah.
Have another show perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it. Yeah.
because perhaps for 11 years you made Samantha Carter. Isn't it too heavy for you? Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it was, yeah. I mean, Helen Magnus was a great change from Sam Carter. Sam was such a good part of my life at that time in my life, and then Helen Magnus was perfect for, where I was then in my life, where I am now. It's two totally different women. I loved that they were different. We made a choice to make them look different and sound different, and so yeah, who knows who's next? Maybe I have blue hair and speak in a foreign tongue.
What about your sanctuary for kids?
The sanctuary for kids.
Is it going well?
It's doing very well.
Can you perhaps explain to?
Sure. We started it in 2009, and the idea was to have a non-for-profit where there was no overhead cost, and to work with really small charities where a small amount of money would make a huge difference. So working with charities that again didn't have a lot of overhead, no administrative costs, and it was born of the fact that I realized that fandom was so incredibly generous, and sci-fi fans in particular are so generous, socially connected and aware, and generous with each other, but generous, any cause that I've supported, they were there to support it too, which was great. And so this was a great outlet to take the passion that fandom has, the passion that I have, and put them together and create this charity, and it's worked out beautifully. So it's now been 5 years. We support 3 organizations in Nepal, and our biggest is an orphanage, Nepal Orphans Home. We deal with trafficked women and children. We have a school in Haiti that we support, and a community in the downtown east side that works with teenagers, getting them off the streets. And I'm so proud of it. The fans have been amazing. Yeah, it's been really good.
You recently directed some episode of Olympus series.
Yes.
Is it a great project for you now?
It is. It's all green screen. I'm looking at this wall. It takes me back to Olympus. It is. It's very big. Greek mythology, green screen, 3D environment. Huge. I was at home. It's a different system that we were using for the cameras, but I felt very comfortable with the green screen. Just how big the show is. It's a big show.
Will you be a regular director in this production?
I don't know. I did 4 this season, which is probably the most I could have done. And we'll see. We'll see if they get picked up for another. They did 13 episodes this year, and I did 4 of them. And we'll see what happens. I think it comes to air in April.
What about Continuum?
Continuum, we're waiting to hear, I think, whether they're coming back. I think they're coming back for a few.
You directed 2,
I did 3.
3.
Yeah.
On the first season.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love it. I mean, it's such a great show to work on. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, I should ask you. My English is not too good.
No, it's good.
What about green screen? Because in Stargate G1 you were used to shoot in the nature most of the time.
Yes.
But in Sanctuary, yes, all was green. Was it a problem for you?
No. At first, it was getting used to. So say this whole room is painted green. So we would have what they call a previs or pre-visual effect sort of picture that would show us what the environment looked like, so we could get a sense of the scale. So we weren't talking like this when we really needed to talk like this because it was a huge place. Do you know what I mean? It was things like that. But in terms of acting, it was very simple because there was nothing to distract you. It became very intimate in a way about you and your acting partner and the words. And
this is being an actor.
Yeah, and it was like doing theater.
You can do everything, in fact, even if there's a tree or something like this.
Absolutely, yeah, all in your head.
What about fishing? Did Richard Anderson succeed in convincing you with this hobby?
Oh, the fishing hobby. Yeah, I don't know if Rick has the patience to be a fisherman in real life. I wonder. I used to love fishing, actually. Yeah, but
no, it's a joke.
I have to say though, I saw Richard, in May. Did we see each other in May? And he's as funny as ever. He's just so lovely.
It was a joke.
And you know what's really funny? When we shot that scene where they finally go fishing, I was newly pregnant with my daughter. So I had this big poncho on, and Rick's there, and we're talking about having children because he had Wiley, of course. And so the whole time we were getting ready to shoot that scene, we were talking about parents, being parents. It was really sweet. And then suddenly it's like, okay, let's go fishing.
It was a nice place for that.
It was very nice, yes.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet
you. It was very,
you.
very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope you have lots of success with Olympus and
Thank you.
in general. We love you.
Yeah, and then on to the next show.
Yeah.
Another sci-fi series beginning with the letter S.
You like sci-fi in general?
I do. I love it. Yeah, I like it because it's endless possibility. It's just you're limited by your imagination. So
sometimes we say sci-fi is not for girls, you know. Sometimes
you know what?
Like
the demographic has changed.
Yeah.
It used to be where it seemed like it was geared towards teenage boys, but now, and especially the fandom that I've met, there's women in their 80s, there's little kids, there's a lot of women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the direction of women, it's such more important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.